Asterisk, have you ever stopped and asked yourself why the ache never really fades? Why, even when everything around you appears to be in order, there's this heaviness pressing on your chest, like something deep inside is misaligned. Perhaps you've meditated, taken advice from friends, or buried the discomfort behind a smile, pretending everything's fine. Yet still, the pain lingers like a silent shadow trailing behind your every step. Let me tell you something few dare to say. Most of your suffering isn't coming from the outside world. It's born within from the parts of you that you've pushed away, ignored, or forgotten. There's a voice in you, quiet but persistent, trying to speak truths you've long silenced. Carl Jung, one of the most profound minds in psychology, once said, "What you do not bring to consciousness returns as fate." And maybe that's exactly what's happening in your life. You turn your back on what hurts, wrap it in distractions, lose yourself in patterns that offer escape, but no real healing. You whisper to yourself, "This too shall pass," but it never really does, has it? Because the pain isn't here to be numbed. It's here to be seen. This isn't one of those feel-good videos with quick fixes and motivational slogans. I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to challenge you, to hold up a mirror to the places you avoid, even from yourself. Give me just a few minutes of your time, and I will help you uncover why you truly suffer and how it can finally end, not with tricks, but with truth. Maybe you're at your breaking point right now, smiling in public, but screaming in silence. Maybe you've become so used to the pain, it feels like just another part of you. But here's a truth you need to hear. Your suffering endures only because you haven't yet had the courage to face where it truly begins. Jung spent his life charting the dark corners of the human soul. He knew that only those who brave their inner shadows can ever walk in the light. So if you're willing, if you're ready, come with me. By the end of this journey, something in you will shift. Because once you see what's hidden beneath your pain, you'll never look at yourself the same way again. Let's begin. Don't be mistaken. It's not failure that breaks you. It's the illusion you created about who you should be that leaves you shattered. It's not loneliness that wounds. It's the hollow echo of forgetting who you are when the world falls silent. It's not others that hurt you most. It's what you do to yourself every time you abandon who you truly are just to keep up appearances. And as long as this inner fracture remains, the pain will stay. Because you're trying to treat a surface wound, while the real cut lies much deeper within your very soul. But here's the truth you need to hear. This pain isn't a punishment. It's a signal, a call. Jung believed that pain is not the end. It's the beginning of a return to yourself. It exists to nudge you, sometimes gently, sometimes forcefully, back to your essence. That journey starts the moment you stop running and begin to listen to the things you buried, the truths you silenced, the parts of you that time forgot. In the next part, we'll enter one of the most powerful and terrifying realms of the human spirit, the place Jung called the shadow. It holds the very part you fear most, but also the key to your deepest healing. If this message resonates with something inside you, don't walk this path alone. Subscribe and be part of this journey. Your support matters. You say you want to heal to stop the suffering. Yet you keep fighting your emotions, treating your anxiety, your guilt, your anger and sorrow like intruders in your life. But here's the uncomfortable truth. These feelings aren't your enemies. They are signals. What you think is an external attack is often your own inner world calling out. The real threat isn't outside, it's within. Quiet, hidden, unacknowledged. Carl Jung gave this force a name, the shadow. And yes, you have one. Everyone does. It's made up of everything you've pushed away. The feelings you weren't allowed to feel, the thoughts you weren't supposed to think, the desires you labeled wrong. It's the ambition you masked as humility, the fears you pretended didn't exist. the anger you swallowed, the hunger you were ashamed of. These parts didn't disappear just because you ignored them. They live in the darkness, waiting. And the more you turn away, the more they take control. Think back to those moments when you lashed out without reason, sabotaged something beautiful, or destroyed something good for reasons you couldn't explain. That wasn't bad luck. That was your shadow acting out, pulling the strings behind the scenes. It whispers into your mind, distorts your heart, steers your choices, all while you think you're in control. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." So ask yourself, is this suffering really misfortune? Or is it your shadow, demanding to be seen? The truth is, you'll never be free until you face it, until you stop pretending it doesn't exist. And yes, it's hard. It means peeling away masks. It means admitting you've hidden from your own reflection. It means no longer playing the victim. It means recognizing the part of you that you fear and realizing it's still you. Still human, still waiting to be understood. Asterisk, asterisk. Now here's the heart of it all. The shadow isn't your enemy. It's not some demon to be defeated. It's the wounded part of your soul, cast aside and begging to be seen. Like any part that's been exiled, it doesn't want war. It wants reconciliation. It wants to be acknowledged, heard, and welcomed home. Jung never taught us to eliminate the shadow. He taught us to embrace it, to alchemize it into strength, into clarity, into personal truth. Because what you reject trains you, but what you accept empowers you. That's the paradox. And in the next part, we'll go deeper. Now that you've seen the shadow face to face, what do you do with it? This is the threshold of courage, the doorway to real transformation. Because simply knowing your shadow isn't enough. What truly reshapes your life is how you respond to it, what you do. With that knowledge, you've made it this far. You've peeled back the masks, stared into the raw truth of your inner fractures. And now comes the turning point, the confrontation. Insight is just the beginning. Transformation only happens when understanding turns into action. And that action? It won't be easy. It won't be comfortable. It means walking into your own storm with your eyes wide open. Jung was crystal clear about this. The road to selfhood isn't paved with comfort. It's carved through the wilderness of your own mind, a path walked by few, feared by most. But courage, real courage, doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means walking anyway, trembling but determined. It means surrendering control, taking off the costume, and admitting a hard truth. You've played a role in your own pain. That kind of honesty, raw, ruthless, and real, is where healing begins. But what does it look like, practically? To face the unconscious. It looks like listening to your body when your mind tries to silence it. That twisting in your gut when you're with someone who drains you. That pressure in your chest when you say yes to something that shrinks you. That soul-tired fatigue from smiling when you're actually breaking. These are not random discomforts. They are messages. Your unconscious doesn't want to destroy you. It wants to rescue you. So start small. Track your dreams. Pay attention to emotional flare-ups. Notice the patterns you keep reliving year after year. Every trigger is a breadcrumb. Every breakdown hides a symbol. And your task now is to decode them, not with rush, not with fear, but with presence. Not to soothe yourself, but to see yourself fully. Bravely. One of the most powerful tools you have is writing, not polite journaling, but raw confession. Sit down and write as if no one will ever read it. Spill the thoughts you're ashamed of, the feelings you never voice, the truths you don't even admit in silence. Because the moment those truths hit the page, they lose their grip on your psyche. And when you're ready, seek out a mirror, not just a reflection, but a therapeutic one. A space where someone trained can help you translate what your inner world is screaming to say. Jung reminded us, the unconscious isn't garbage to be hidden. It's a living wisdom that wants to guide you home. But it asks something of you. In return, drop the filters, the defenses, the justifications. Show up raw and willing to listen. Asterisk, you want the suffering to end? Then you need to stop running from it. Because as long as you keep moving away, it will keep following step for step, breath for breath. But when you finally turn to face it, really face it, something begins to shift. The pain that once chased you starts to change its shape. And that's when you discover the truth no one prepared you for. The very pain you feared for so long is actually a doorway, a portal to something deeper. And in the next part, we'll explore what that truly means, why pain keeps showing up even when everything looks fine on the outside, and how it can become your greatest ally on the road to inner freedom. Ready to go there? Then stay with me. Most people go through life in a battle with pain. They numb it with pills, distract themselves with screens, hide behind shallow connections, chase dopamine through status and smiles, all to avoid feeling. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The more you try to silence pain, the louder it becomes. Because pain isn't an error, it's a message. Carl Jung saw suffering not as punishment, but as a call for transformation. Pain is the soul's way of knocking at your door, saying, something here needs your attention. Every ache holds a truth. Every discomfort is a code, waiting to be read. But as long as you keep treating pain as the enemy, you'll miss the map it's trying to hand you. Think about the times life forced you to change. Did it happen when everything was peaceful and easy? Probably not. Real change is born in disorder. True transformation begins when pain strips away the illusions. Jung believed that pain must be felt fully, deeply, all the way through before it can be released. That means you can't sidestep it. You must walk straight through it. Let's ground this in real life. Picture someone who lives for others, always saying yes, always available, always smiling to please. Over time, anxiety creeps in. Exhaustion becomes constant. A quiet sadness settles in the chest. Doctors run tests. Pills are prescribed, but nothing changes. Why? Because the body is speaking the truth, the mind is too afraid to face. Living against yourself hurts, and it will keep hurting until you stop betraying your own truth. Or imagine someone who keeps falling into the same type of relationship, always with someone emotionally distant, always ending up feeling unwanted, not enough. Over and over. That pain isn't random. It's not misfortune. It's a reflection. A mirror showing you a wound that's been there for years, maybe since childhood. And until that wound is finally acknowledged, the suffering will repeat like a lesson left unlearned. But when you start to see pain for what it really is, a language, a symbol, a guide, everything changes. What once felt like punishment reveals itself as direction. Pain becomes a compass. And strangely enough, you start to understand that suffering, when welcomed with presence, can be the very thing that saves you. Because it stops you, it turns you around. It urges you to change course. And that's where your power begins. Because now you know, avoiding pain means avoiding your truth. Running from pain means abandoning yourself. But if you have the courage to sit with it, to listen, to feel, to stay, you'll be led somewhere you never thought you could go. A place not without storms, but with peace. Not because life is flawless, but because you finally come home. To yourself. Asterisk in the next part, we'll step beyond the pain into the space where something new begins. What happens when you stop resisting and start embracing the parts of yourself you once rejected? That's where true healing lives. Not in the disappearance of pain, but in its transformation into wisdom, into clarity, into presence. That's what's waiting for you on the other side. And if what you've heard so far speaks to something inside you, you might find even more depth in my ebook, Beyond the Shadow. In it, I unpack Jung's core insights and offer practical tools to help you understand yourself more deeply. You'll find the link pinned in the comments. There comes a moment quiet but undeniable when something inside begins to shift. Not with fireworks, not with fanfare, but like a change in the wind, gentle, almost invisible, and yet it alters the entire weather of your soul. It's the moment when you stop fighting yourself, and for the first time, feel a sense of wholeness. But what does that really mean, to be whole? It means welcoming every part of who you are, especially the parts you've tried to silence. It means ending the battle with your feelings, letting go of the exhausting chase to appear perfect, taking off the mask you've worn for too long. It means recognizing that your anger, your fear, your sadness, your shame, they're not flaws. They're part of your humanity. And the moment you choose to integrate them, instead of pushing them away, something sacred begins to happen. The suffering loosens its grip. Carl Jung called this process individuation. Not about becoming extraordinary or different, but about becoming whole, real, undistorted, yourself. And this kind of authenticity doesn't come from pride. It's born of radical acceptance. It's not about finding yourself. It's about uncovering what was always there, buried beneath expectations and fear. And only those who dare to walk through the ruins of their own soul can rebuild what has been broken. At this point, you understand something essential. Your pain doesn't define you. It shaped you. It was the bridge, not the destination. You look back and suddenly, everything makes sense. Every breakdown, every crisis, every emotional spiral had a reason. It stripped away the false, broke down the illusion of control, and forced you to rebuild on truth. And this truth? It doesn't shelter you from discomfort. It demands that you show up fully, that you choose consciously, because now that you've looked into your shadow, now that you understand the role of pain, now that you've felt what it means to truly be you, you can't go back to sleep. You begin to see who energizes you and who drains you. You stop making yourself small. To keep the peace, you say no with strength. You say yes to yourself without apology. This change doesn't shout, it whispers, but its impact is undeniable. And here, you realize something no one ever taught you. You were never unworthy of love. You didn't have to fix yourself. To deserve peace, you just had to stop abandoning yourself. Because the peace you've been searching for out there, it was always waiting inside. But now comes the most subtle and dangerous moment, the moment many settle. Things are better. The chaos is gone. Life starts to flow again. And so the temptation is to stop here. But there's one more step, a vital one. Jung believed that true healing isn't complete until it becomes service. Until your light, born from your darkness, becomes something you share. So the question becomes, now that you've come through the fire, what will you do with your light? How will you live now that you are fully awake? That's what we'll explore in the final part, how to live consciously, with intention. How to not just survive, but to show up for life with presence, with purpose, with responsibility. Because once you've been reborn, life doesn't let you play small anymore. It asks for more from you, through you, for the world. Asterisk, now you know. There's no going back to pretending. You've heard the words. You felt them sink into you, not gently, but like sharp truths cutting through layers you didn't know you were wearing. And still, you stayed. That already sets you apart. Because most people run when the truth gets too loud. They turn away, they numb, they sleep. But not you. You stayed. And because you stayed, you now stand at a threshold of choice. You can fall back into the old familiar patterns that have kept you stuck, Or you can take your life into your own hands and begin to live it from a place of power. It doesn't matter how much you've suffered. It doesn't matter who failed. You, who hurt you, who left. What matters now is what you choose to do with all of it. The pain you've been dragging behind you, it can become strength. The void you've tried to fill with noise, it can become stillness that heals. And the traumas that once caged you, they can mark the beginning of your greatest freedom. But here's something vital you need to understand. Awareness comes with a price. Once you see clearly, you can't close your eyes again. Ignorance is no longer a refuge. You've been awakened to a higher way of being, and with that awakening comes responsibility. No more betrayal of your own truth. No more settling for crumbs. No more hiding behind stories and fears that no longer serve you. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to be fully ready. No one ever is. What you need is to decide. Decide to show up for yourself every single day, with honesty, with compassion, with courage, and above all with action. Because knowing the truth but doing nothing with it, that's just another way of staying asleep with your eyes open. Carl Jung said that individuation, the journey of becoming whole, is not a destination. It's a path you walk your entire life. And maybe today, with everything you've heard and felt, you took your first real step. Maybe for the first time you understood. You are not broken. You are in progress. You are becoming, and your pain, it wasn't here to punish you. It was your soul's cry, begging you to come home. So let me ask you, what was the moment in this video that pierced you the deepest? What line shattered your silence? What truth shook you awake? Drop it in the comments. Write it not for me, but for you. Let it be a declaration. Because when you put words to your experience, you anchor it. You give it shape. And who knows, your voice might be exactly what someone else out there needs to hear right now. And if this video spoke to your soul, don't stop here. The next one builds on this very moment. It continues the path we've begun. I'll be waiting for you there.